Puzzle games are not my favorite genre, but I think it's mainly because I absolutely suck at them. I'm pretty sure I've seen better gameplay from a blind beaver, and this happens without fail every puzzle game I play. Nothing is more demoralizing than being stuck on the same screen for an hour with no idea of what to do or where to start. But that's the price you pay when you have a brain the size of a small pebble. That's why I was so surprised to play 3 puzzle games over the last year that not only captured my interest with unique ideas and clever design, but also felt really easy. And I don't mean that as a bad thing at all, the opposite in fact. Somehow these titles took me and my dumb smebble brain and made me feel like a genius. Let's talk about how they did it. The first game I played was Cocoon, which is the latest from Jeppe Carlsen. Known best for his work on Limbo and Inside, or if you're like me, his expertly crafted rhythm game 140. Yes, that is me getting the world record in that game almost 10 years ago. So I was definitely expecting a quality release when I downloaded it, but what I did not expect was for it to absolutely blow my mind into a million pieces. For the uninitiated, the main hook of Cocoon is that you can carry these orbs on your back, but they actually house full worlds that you can leap into to solve further puzzles. So eventually, you gain new abilities and multiple orbs to juggle at once, as well as taking orbs into other orbs. Yeah, it's some Inception level stuff for sure. The thing that was so fascinating about it though is that I never got stuck. For a game that seems so mind-bending on paper, it does such a good job of teaching you mechanics and slowly ramping up the challenge that it always seemed logical and naturally intuitive. But again, it's not so easy that it feels boring or disengaging either, and this was a very specific game design goal for Jeppe from the get-go. When I stopped asking myself, is this puzzle challenging enough, and instead asked, is this puzzle stimulating enough, Cocoon became a much better game. One design trick is to always show as many points of interest as possible at the first screen when you jump into an orb world. Did I forget something in here? Oh, there it is. When beating a boss, you gain a new orb ability, but a more subtle reward is that the level design becomes linear for a while, one world, one orb, so that the game always feels well paced. You see, the key to making a multi-world exploring puzzler is to rein back the complexity and simplify down to its core essentials. There's literally only one button in this game. You can interact with objects and move around, that's it. There's no dialogue or text boxes, everything is taught to you through gameplay. Forget collectibles, branching paths, or hidden alcoves. There's very little fluff along the linear path, leaving you to solely focus on the task at hand. Plus, there's rarely more than a few objects on screen at a time, so the solution is always going to be a bit closer than you would think. They also made sure the sound design gives strong feedback to let you know you're on the right track as you deconstruct puzzles. Jeppe wanted to make sure you develop a level of trust with the game. Like, hey, you got this, and I got your back. It's simply a masterclass in intrigue, evolution, and making the complex feel understandable. Next, I played Chants of Sennaar, which is all about exploring an unfamiliar world and piecing together a language you don't understand through context clues around you. As you see symbols from word bubbles or signs in a village, it'll show you pictures in a notebook that you have to mix and match the correct answers to. And similar to Return of the Obra Dinn, it'll lock in your answers if you get an entire page correct. Unlike Obra Dinn though, which was a game I found especially challenging because there are near limitless possibilities when you're piecing together how the crewmates met their death, there's only a small pool of words in Chants of Sennaar, so it doesn't feel nearly as overwhelming. If you don't know a specific set of words yet, you can always continue to hunt for more clues, and eventually the process of elimination can help narrow down the last few solutions. One of my favorite features is that you can type in a guess of what you think it is before finalizing its definition. So if you're at least in the ballpark of the right idea, it can help you piece together the rest of a sentence and understand the main thought someone is saying. It doesn't hold your hand, but there are numerous ways to go about finding the puzzle pieces. And then, once you've understood the ins and outs of a particular language's grammar and syntax, it tests you with a final challenge, which then opens up the next area with an entirely new set of symbols to decode. What's so clever here is that some languages have certain rules that are not followed in others. So, for example, plurals in the first area are denoted by having two of the same thing next to each other. But in the next location, a specific symbol is used for plurals. Likewise, another language used by scientists holds all numbers. So you need to understand how they count and how to increase from tens to hundreds, etc. Each new tribe has its own flair and personality, so even if they use the same words, it might be described in a totally different way. And then of course at the end it asks you to translate between the languages, which is especially rewarding as it almost feels like you're learning a real-life skill in the process. But because it takes its time to introduce these concepts, I never felt like I was out of my depth, even though this was a type of game I'd normally fail miserably at. Finally, and most recently, I tried out Isles of the Sea and Sky, which apparently is a Sokoban puzzle game? I don't really know what that word means, but you're pushing blocks around and stuff. Normally, I wouldn't really give this style a try, but the pixel art really drew me in, and a few other elements as well. Once you find your turtle companion, it turns into an open world, where you can explore more islands depending on the number of stars you collect. So if you feel stuck in a particular area, you can always go see if something new has opened up. Also, each island has a power-up to increase your mobility, and elemental avatars once you collect enough gems, to switch up puzzles and increase your flexibility in how you solve them. So in a lot of ways, it ends up feeling like an adventure exploration game just as much as a single-screen puzzler. And yes, it has the trappings that I normally dislike in the genre of having way too many elements to think about at once, but one key change made it feel entirely different. Some blocks unlock permanently once you destroy them, which forever changes how that screen can be completed. This means that even if a puzzle is more challenging and takes a while to unpack, along the way you're making incremental progress that either speeds up the process or makes the final solution possible if you restart the screen. There's often multiple rewards in a single puzzle, so you can solve it one way and then start again using the pieces in a different way to get another. The result is an experience that never felt frustrating or like I hit a roadblock. There's always more islands to explore, the power-ups constantly change how you approach challenges, and as you make bite-sized progress, it makes sections easier to move around in. So the push and pull of difficulty is always in a nice, rewarding balance. Plus, the power-ups make backtracking to old areas just as enjoyable, because new sections are constantly becoming available to you. Another problem I often have with other puzzle games is that it's so easy to just look up answers if you get stuck. Isles of Sea and Sky skirts this issue by having some puzzles randomized each playthrough, so the answers can't be easily replicated. But this does require a lot of trust in your game design, to ensure the player doesn't get frustrated and feels like they have the skill to overcome the challenge. The beauty is that unlike the first two games, Isles of Sea and Sky is chocked full of secrets and hidden pathways. So while some of the puzzles are a bit harder than Cocoon or Chants of Sennaar, there's simply more to do and find when you need a brain break. Keys, stars, gems, medallions, they're all in service of unlocking the final set of levels at the heart of the island once you've mastered the mechanics. So what did I learn from my foray into easier puzzle games? Well, it seems that the best design doesn't come from how much can be crammed into a particular puzzle, but rather teaching the player all the pieces necessary before dropping them into the deep end. Even if a particular concept is interesting or has a lot of potential, it doesn't mean that it needs to be in the final game. Yepa actually cut several other orb power-ups from Cocoon because he didn't want to convolute or overwhelm the experience. So even at its hardest, you're never balancing too many elements at once. Also, feeling smart and feeling stimulated can be different things. Or rather, you don't have to have the most in-depth puzzle for the player to still have a beautiful aha moment. It's about pacing and how the puzzle is presented to the player, not necessarily magnitude. I even learned how to be a better puzzle solver as well, like how to work backwards from the solution rather than just brute forcing pieces around trying to get somewhere. Okay, I need this star, but to get that I have to open this lock, but that's blocked by this, so my first step is to get over that hole. Okay, I got it, let's do this. In a lot of ways, these easier puzzle games feel like a gateway drug to the rest of the genre, and it's been such a breath of fresh air compared to others I had gotten frustrated with in the past. And that's why we truly need more of them, so that as many people as possible can experience the perfect epiphany that only a true puzzler can provide. What's your favorite puzzle game? Is there one in particular that really got you into the genre in the first place? What was so special about that one for you? Tell me in the comments below and let's talk about it. Thanks for watching and welcome back to the Summer of Snoman. More videos to come soon. Stay frosty, my friends.